Hey David, welcome to the stream. Kinda worried. I think there might be a problem with chat not showing on screen. I'm gonna try and sort that here real quick. Looks like chat's not showing up in the stream. Not entirely sure what has happened with that. Okay, now it's back. Okay, now it seems to be working. Yeah, David, I'm looking forward to it as well. I always like the Bard stream. I think Noah here described the path of totality as the path of nope. Because something like 80% of it was going to be under cloud cover for the time. So I had things we were never going to be in the path of totality. We were going to be at 94.2% here. But I set up the telescope, and I had the tracking mount set up, and left it going while I went to work, just to see if anything would have been captured when I got back. And there was a couple of poke throughs of the clouds, but it was really mainly unviewable here. But yeah, it was an interesting test also. I had the equatorial mount set up with it running in sidereal drive, so and I had the capture lens on it and the sun filter, so it was a good test of the setup. I hadn't done that since I was in college, I think. So it was good to be able to set it up, because the sun wasn't even visible at my house location where I had it set up when I left for work. The sun was well behind the house. So had it set up, got the right ascension declination programmed in, the telescope slewed to the correct location as best I could tell, and then I had it start tracking. And I was actually really impressed, because 5 hours later or something like that, it was fully tracked in. It was still fully tracking. So I was really impressed with the way the telescope performed during that time. It was a little bit off. It is an older gear drive based equatorial mount, or sidereal drive in the equatorial mount, so it did drift a little bit, so it wasn't fully centered in the image. But over 5 hours, I expected that. Like I say, it's not the most expensive telescope in the world either. I've had it for a very long time. I think I've had it for 20 years now. So, but yeah, it performed really well, and if it weren't some clouds, then I would have gotten some good video that I could have enjoyed. But no, it was really too cloudy here. Hey, Lord Henry, welcome. Yeah, the Paladin livestream is really going to be getting into the meat of some Act 3 storylines coming up. We still have probably a couple of live streams here in the Bard one before we get there, but we're going to be approaching Rivington and Worms Crossing a little bit differently here in this one than we did in the Paladin one. But yeah, it's a fun time now. There's so much to do, and there's so much that overlaps in a small area. If you really want to get the most out of this, I think you have to have 4 different characters in your party at different times going through this and Worms Crossing to be able to get the most out of the dialogues and the quest advancements and all that sort of stuff, because there's just so many quests that are starting to overlap. Up until this point, it's really been Lae'zel's questline, Shadowheart's questline, and kind of the beginning of Astarian's questline, with a very short section of Karlach's questline. But now it's really going to be getting into a bunch of people's questlines. That's an interesting question. I don't think we're probably going to see a difference here, if I had to guess. I'll obviously make that decision once we get closer, but my guess is that these two that the Bard and the Paladin are going to be pretty close to each other. The Honor Mode playthrough is obviously not. It's going to be hugely different. I do have some thoughts about differences between the Paladin and the Bard playthrough, so if I'm going to do it, you would see, again, just like everything, a non-standard playthrough in the Paladin live stream. So, we'll go ahead and get started. I haven't been watching the time here, probably a little late. Apologize, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream, episode 38 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Bard gameplay series. I'm Commander Drogher, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on some admin notes, the first thing is that today, actually, Larian released Hotfix 25. It is now live. During Hotfix 24, they fixed a couple of issues with the spawning and despawning of us, the Intellect Devourer. Unfortunately, that also introduced some bugs into Act 1 with us, specifically in the prologue, where you meet him. And they had to put out another hotfix to address those. They also did some trading updates. For some reason, you had been unable to split items in the inventory screen while you were trading after Hotfix 24, so they had to go fix that. Have no fear, all of you people who are worried, the vendor exploit has not been fixed. Actually, I doubt it's ever going to be fixed because Larian is winding down their hotfixes and that sort of stuff at this point, so I think you're all safe to keep doing it if you want to do it. And then they did fix a couple of rare crash issues in Act 1 and with save games. So make sure you've got that updated and installed, especially if you're playing an early playthrough or starting a new one and going through the prologue, because you'll definitely run into some issues with us. So the last admin note is obviously now with this live stream, the live stream times, or the live stream schedule is now fully set and implemented. The Honor Mode playthrough and the Bard playthrough basically swapped places, and that meant a little bit longer time in between the Bard playthroughs. But now with today, we are back on schedule again. That full schedule is listed in the About tab on the channel, so feel free to go look at that and you get the exact times and everything. But again, as always, normally at least a couple hours beforehand, you'll see the live stream with the scheduled start time go up, and then you'll know what that exact time is. But yeah, I think that's it for our admin notes. So on a recap, at the end of last live stream, we had just finished killing the Apostle of Merkel. We were in the Illithid colony. We had freed Aelin from her soul cage, which allowed us to do damage to Merkel, and we had finished that fight up really easily, and that's because the Apostle of Merkel, like a bunch of things, is not able to see in magical darkness. So we're going to jump right back in here and continue on with that, and this is going to see us have an intermediate interaction before we get into Rivington itself. But we'll get there very, very quickly. So here we are. We have Ketheric's body It has been brought back out here. We convinced Ketheric to sacrifice himself, and that meant that we were able to skip the first fight of the encounter here and skip straight to the Apostle of Merkel. But for that, we need to bring his body. It needs to bring his body back up here so we can get his nether stone. So we're going to go ahead and interact here.
In death, the body is cooling, but energy radiates from the stone.
Remarkable, truly. And now the picture comes together. The Absolute is neither god nor man. It is the Elder Brain you saw, held here by those three against its will. The crown it wears controls it, and these stones control the crown. It has been dominated. To master an Elder Brain, to subdue it. Our enemies are formidable. The crown's markings suggest it was forged in Netheril, an ancient empire whose mastery over magic rivaled that of the gods. It is a crown of domination. The stones were taken from its crest. They are nether stones, imbued with the ability to control the wearer of the crown. The crown's Netherese magic must be the true source of the parasite's abilities. This must be what elevates their potential. And it must be the reason nobody could heal you. If the crown can do this to the parasite, I dare not imagine what it is doing to the brain. A temporary reprieve, but a welcome one. With the brain on its way to the city, its influence here is weakened. One of them I know, Lord Enver Gortash, an arms dealer and a slaver. A worshipper of Bane, the god of tyranny. The other is a mystery to me, but the way she spoke, it is most likely she follows Baal, god of murder. Ketheric was a follower of Merkel, which means the Absolute is a front for the gods of death, and our enemies are the chosen of the dead three. Bane, Baal, and Merkel. The tyrant, the assassin, and the necromancer. They are known to pick from their most devout followers a chosen, granting them incredible powers. Each one alone would be a formidable enemy. But working together and controlling an Elder Brain, I dare not imagine what they might achieve. We prepare for the fight of our lives, and the lives of everyone in Faerun. The army of the Absolute is marching on Baldur's Gate. Within the city, an Elder Brain, brimming with power, ready to turn everyone within its reach into mind flayers. All it needs is an order. An order the Death Gods chosen are on the cusp of giving. We must wrest control of the brain from the chosen before that happens. We must take their stones. Our chances of success are slim, but we must not fail. If we fail, everything ends. I will be your shield, but you must be the sword. And when the chance comes to strike, you must take it, for there may only be one chance.
Okay, so we get to loot Ketheric here. We have a crumpled up note that you can read, basically from Isabel to Ketheric. And you get 3 items from Ketheric. Ketheric's Warhammer, which is a Warhammer that deals an additional 1d4 psychic damage. It's a +1 weapon. that doesn't really compare to the charge-bound Warhammer, with it doing 1d6 lightning. However, you can swap out to this if you would find something that's resistant to lightning damage. The Ketheric shield is a shield that gives you a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. And so this works with Eldritch Blast and that sort of stuff. And it gives you advantage on dexterity saving throws. Shield Bash we obviously know about, and then Reaper's Embrace. This is an armor class 19 heavy armor. All incoming damage is reduced by 2. It has Reaper's Rigidity, which is, when activated, you can't be moved against your will by any spell or action. So you can't be shoved, you can't be pushed back, or anything like that, but you have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. So if somebody casts an AoE spell on you, you're going to have disadvantage in trying to avoid some of the damage there. You have disadvantage on stealth checks, which is standard for most heavy armor, and then you have Howl of the Dead. This is a cantrip that is not really a cantrip because it's part of the armor, which means that you're only allowed to cast it once per short rest. It is a bonus action, however, and for 3 meters around you, it will numb an enemy, where their movement speed is cut in half, and you have advantage on attack rolls against the affected enemies. So if you're surrounded by enemies, it can give you advantage on your attacks. Now this is just one more way to get advantage on attack rolls. We have a bunch of different ways, darkness being the main one. But if you're not able, if something's able to see in darkness and it doesn't give you an advantage on your attack rolls, this is certainly a way to do that. So I'm going to distribute these. And now here I'm gaining +3 bonus to initiative rolls and advantage on the perception ability checks. If I apply Ketheric Shield, now I gain that +1 to attack rolls with Eldritch Blast. And I also gain a +1 spell save DC on any spell that I use. For Kurz right now, wearing the adamantine plate, so it's still, incoming damage is reduced by 2. I'm going to lose out on reeling and the fact that attackers can't land critical hits on me for Howl of the Dead and Reaper's Rigidity. However, I do have a... Oh, I don't have it here yet. I'll probably end up changing this out. But there are other ways for me to get resistance to critical hits being landed. So I'm going to swap this out. Send this back to my camp for now.
Looking ahead.
Okay, and you can loot the rest of the stuff in here. The Intellect Devourers, some of them are going to have Intellect Devourer brains, which are going to be able to let you craft elixirs of psychic resistance, which are very, very good, especially later on in the game. You do have some items back here at the back
Another step forward.
that we can loot and or take a look at. Just some random things that we'll be able to sell. And then we can also go up here and search the Necromites. I'm not entirely sure if I remember if they even have anything. They've got a little bit. And then one more thing that we have is the Mind Flayer corpse over here. And there's always going to be some sort of random jewel on that corpse that you can sell. Okay, so looking at our journal here, we picked up another quest, or 2 quests, that now want us to get the other 2 nether stones. We realized that the Grand Duke has now been infected with a tadpole and taken to Baldur's Gate. Maul was not down here in the Illithic colonies, and obviously Will is going to have an interest in finding out what's happening with his father. We also did learn that the Crown of Karsus is a Netherese object, and Will is going to have a storyline that goes along with that. We did complete the defeat Ketheric Thorm and find a cure questlines, as well as find Zevlor. We did find him and release him. So now we're ready to head back to the surface.
I've been thinking on all that you learned below. If you've got your breath, we ought to discuss our next steps.
I'm exhausted. Better find somewhere to camp soon.
Okay, so now we find ourselves back here in Moonrise Towers, and we have some people that are out here that we can have some conversations with before we move on, and one of them is obviously Will.
Gods be damned. With that parasite in his brain, Father could wreak untold havoc in the Absolute's name. Should Baldur's Gate fall to the Absolute, every one of the coast cities will be ripe for the plucking. We're not just fighting for our cure, we're fighting for my father. We're fighting for the Gate. We're fighting for all of Faerun. Worm's Rock Fortress. All travelers to Baldur's Gate flow through it. It serves as headquarters for the Flaming Fist and their commander, my father. The Absolute's army's on the march. Gods forbid a Tadpole Grand Duke throw open the gates for them. Orin, I'd never heard tell of, but Gortash I know. Or know of, more precisely. A self-styled strategic advisor to Baldur's Gate's peers. A bit player with dreams of a leading role, the way Father told it. He had no use for Gortash, and even less for his advice. I don't remember much beyond that. But where these Chosen are concerned, I have a suspicion we're about to know more than we'd like. Yes, but first a question. If your home were under siege, what would you sacrifice to save it? As would I, and more. I was 17. Father, older Ravengard, had just been named a Grand Duke and was called away to Elturel to help settle a dispute. That's when the Cult of the Dragon made its move.
The Cult of the Dragon, a fractured religion. Some believers hold that undead dragons will inherit the world. Others worship the dragon goddess Tiamat and intend to summon her to Faerun.
To conjure the Dragon Queen and lay waste to Baldur's Gate. A 10-day after Father left, I heard a whisper as I slept. Duskhawk Hill. The Queen of Chaos awakens. Go alone. I grabbed a rapier and set out. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, yet not a single star was shining. There they were, gathered at the foot of the hill.
Your head tingles. Will wants to show you what happened. In the looming shadow of the mount, 5 groups of 5 figures each encircle a lofty totem. Atop each totem, a dragon's head is carved. and a massive orb held in its mouth. The cultists chant, first softly, then crying to the starless sky. There is a crack of thunder, a gust of wind, and a dragon's white head appears in the storm. As the maelstrom howls, Missoura's lips press to your ear. She will destroy Baldur's Gate. Grant me your soul, and I will give you the power to save it, she whispers.
She read the terms while two devils stood witness, and I said yes. One soul for one city. She didn't. She came on order of her mistress, Zariel. Tiamat made a play for power. Zariel had other plans. That was the most Missoura's ever said. All that mattered was that she got her prize. Another pet added to her warlock menagerie. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right. The moment I agreed, I burned with the fires of Avernus and oozed the rot of Dis. The cultists choked on our poisons and burned from our flames. And when we were done, all that remained were 5 grayed orbs atop a pile of ash. My soul was bound, and my lips were sealed. It is the one scar I ever bore of it. Missoura replaced it with a sending stone. She uses it to track my location and speak from a distance. I could flee to the spine of the world, or the depths of the lower dark, and still never shake her. He returned to an unsuspecting city and a wayward son with a smirking devil at his side. I tried to tell him the truth, but my mouth couldn't form the words. I'd led him to the battlefield, but Missoura had swept it clean. I showed him my stone eye, but he only turned away. After, he said only one word: go. So I did. I understand. No, never. He did the only thing he could. In his eyes, I invited a devil into our midst. I was a fool at best, a traitor at worst, and Grand Duke Ravengard suffers neither. More than you know. The better question is, did he ever miss me? If he did, he missed the Will Ravengard he once knew, not the hell-touched warlock he returned to.
Okay, so obviously learned a lot about Will there. We'll go ahead and talk to Dame Aelin here.
Very well. Aelin! Isabel! My love. You were dead. I saw your body. I'm here. And so are you. And my father, he can't hurt us any longer. I dreamt every night that you'd come back to me. That somehow it was all a nightmare Dawn would undo. I had no dreams at all. Nothing but darkness. And when I woke, my father said you were dead. His soul was poisoned by the god of death. His sick devotion ruined him. But for all his sins, he brought you back to me. Are you all right? I will be. And you? In this moment, I want for nothing. Ah, there you are. This is Aelin. Aelin, this is...
Oh, but we have met. This is the soldier that freed me most valiantly from the Shadowfell. They watched my boot crush the very brain of villainy, and fought well against your changed father.
May he rest in peace at last, now that he's dead. I have more to thank you for than I knew. And we have much to discuss. Perhaps we could join you in your camp later? We look forward to it.
You there, Sharon. By the fires of your camp's hearth, we will discuss all we must.
I'll be ready. Whatever you have to say had better be worth your life.
Now, you will leave us. We must take succor in one another's bodies and words.
Aelin! We'll see you later.
Hey Eric, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's a very interesting reaction between these two that we didn't get to see in the Paladin live stream, obviously. But Aelin and Isabel are going to appear in our camp. I think it is actually really cool. You can't see it, but you saw it during the cutscene. The way they've modeled Aelin. I believe it's called kintsugi. Is the Japanese technique of mending pottery by mixing the lacquer with powdered gold or silver so that the seams look like they're gold. That's what they've done to model her face, and it's a very, very cool and interesting look for her. I really enjoy seeing it. So we'll go over here and talk to Withers.
A curse lifted. The dead three allied once more. The balance shifts. There are depths to this alliance yet unplumbed. Consider, mortal. Do illithids possess souls? Correct. Yet, the three amass an illithid army void of apostolic souls that could imbue them with power. A flock without souls, yet to what end, mortal? This is the question thou must come to answer. Until such time, be availed of my services. Where matters of balance are concerned, I am eternally cold. Yes, Bane, Lord of Darkness, Baal, Lord of Murder, Merkel, Lord of Bones. Once judged, ascended, then vanquished as one, and as three. The Alliance is reforged, mortal. The plains thus quake, and the gods shudder. No.
Okay, so Withers obviously knows all about the Dead Three. And now Jaheira.
Our enemies spread like rub rot. Treat one patch, and two more bloom in its place. An elder brain, bound by lost Netherese magic, with servants of the Dead Three holding the chain. Reminds me of old times. Aren't you? It is good to savor the moment of victory. But pace yourself. Our fight is just beginning. When we met, I was licking my wounds. An old bear with her leg caught in the hunter's snare. Now I've slipped free of the trap and rediscovered my claws. It's time for me to hunt my prey. You have a nether stone, and you're on the scent of 2 more. These chosen have reason to fear you, and I would like to be at your side when you confront them. Glad to be there. Falling foul of Ketherick convinced me that my grand adventures were behind me. That even if I survived, I should hang up my blades. But you convinced me otherwise. We ventured into darkness together. Now we've come out the other side. I'd say I'm feeling a little refreshed. When we reach Baldur's Gate, there will be even darker paths to tread. I will follow you wherever they lead. How does it compare to a shadow-cursed inn? With the Absolute's army gone, the Risen Road should be clear. We can follow it all the way to Baldur's Gate. There's a Harper's safe house in Worm's Crossing. Denthelin's Dancing Axe. We do well to check in with them before entering the city proper. Beyond that, our course is yours to set. Find me at your camp, huh? I can remember how to take orders, as well as give them.
Okay, so we're just recruiting all sorts of people to our camp. Art's awake.
When Duke Elton formed the Flaming Fist, he sought out people of courage and honor to fill its ranks. You saved Daniel, lifted the curse, and killed an immortal. It's safe to say you'd have been recruited in an instant. Of course, I have no idea what life is like under Duke Ravengard's rule, but I've seen the respect he inspires in the Flaming Fist. And that tells me all I need about him as a leader. I hope you can save Duke Ravengard, for the good of Baldur's Gate. Thank you, but look at me. I am a relic, a glimpse of history barely strong enough to stand on his own 2 feet. Besides, Nathaniel should have someone here when he wakes up. It's the least I can do. You too, my friend. Thank you. From Nathaniel and I.
And we also have Halsin here. He's holding an unlit torch.
Nathaniel rests well. He's healing very rapidly, now that Oliver has returned to him. I can't say for certain, but we'll see it come to pass long before this place recedes behind us. Don't worry. All is at hand. We can depart whenever you're ready. I knew I could put my faith in you. If only we had met sooner. No more than my right hand can absorb my left. Oliver is helping Nathaniel to recover. They both lie dormant, like trees awaiting spring. Once the curse is lifted, they can stand as one or as a pair. Whatever they wish, I hope they will remain as a pair. It will be good for them both to have a friend, once I'm gone. Still, I would like to return here someday. See Nathaniel and Oliver again. In my meditations, or perhaps in person, if the Oak Father wills it. I hope he does. I have. But perhaps there is more that I want. Anyway, once the curse is lifted, nature can take its course without me. I belong at your side.
You have an option to start exploring a romance with Halsin during these dialogues.
And I'm glad to be had. Glad to be with you, I mean.
And last is Thaniel here.
You did it. Catherick Thorm is no more. The Shadow's grip is broken. Soon, the land shall heal. Not as glad as I am. Nature moves at its own pace, and bestows its bounty when it sees fit. Give it time. A reward shall come to you when you need it most.
Okay, so that finishes up the conversations that we can have in here. Oh, nope, we've got 2 more. We can talk to Barkus.
There you are. I was wondering where the devil you'd been. Who? Oh, right. Well, forget about that, McGungus. We have more important things to worry about. Like Wulbrin. Oh, forget about that. Wulbrin and the Iron Hand Gnomes are planning something dreadful in the city. They have rune powder, they have motive. We have to stop them. With the sword of justice in one hand and the shield of self-righteousness in the other, we most certainly will. To saving the city. And my fool of a friend.
No.
And here is Wulbrin.
I owe you an apology. Barkus and I are another matter. I'm dealing with you right now. I saw you as a means to escape, nothing more. But when the sky lit up, when I followed it here, I knew you were behind it. I apologize for not seeing your true worth, and for being, quite frankly, rude in Last Light. I wasn't sure you would. I appreciate it. And that's precisely why I want you by my side in Baldur's Gate. The Iron Hand Gnomes are going to save the city, and you can be part of it. The plan is what it's always been. To bring the work and innovations of the Iron Hand Gnomes to every corner of the realm. Problem is, Baldur's Gate is sick. Once the pinnacle of greatness, it's eating itself alive to save itself from starving. Find me in the city. And once you see what it's become, you'll know that I, and I alone, can stop it.
Okay, there's a lot more that's going to happen with all of these quest lines. Once we get into the city itself. Now again, you have another chance here to
Just tell me what you need.
to deal with all of your vendors before you leave Act 2. Because once we take the path to Baldur's Gate, we are not going to be able to come back to any of these locations. They are all going to be wiped out here. So if you want to go pick up anything from
Open up.
any of the vendors here in Act 2. Oh, okay, we still have some stuff here. And actually, I would like to pick up that pouch, but I have to be able to see it.
The way is clear. The light has shown the way.
Good. The sooner we get out of here.
Okay, fine. I'll pick this one up instead. Then do it now, because you are not going to get a chance to come back here. So if you want to go back to the last light and talk with Damon or anything like that, this is going to be your last opportunity to do it. Because once you head out this way, you're not going to be able to come back. So we're not going to take a long rest here. We are going to head toward...
We leave the heart of the Absolute alive. Thanks to you. You did well to defeat Ketheric. But Ketheric was only the first to fall. There are many more battles ahead, and they will not be so easily won. You will need allies. You have the makings of a leader. Your actions have already inspired those around you. Jaheira's wisdom will be an asset to you on the journey ahead. Her harpers, too. Halsin's strength and loyalty will bolster you in times of need. But if we are to succeed, we will need others. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Baldur's Gate may not know it yet, but its fate is bound to ours. Seek on its streets those whose purpose aligns with our own, and invite them to our cause. Together, we will put an end to the Absolute, the Chosen, all.
Okay, that's going to give us a new quest called Gather Your Allies, and this is going to continue on through the rest of the game here. You don't actually have to recruit any more allies. You can complete the game without getting anybody else. But gathering your allies has an impact on what the end game conflict looks like. So we do want to talk to the Night Song when we get back to camp. Shadowheart obviously is going to have some things to talk to about with her. And Jaheira is now a full-fledged member of our party, and she has some contacts in the city that we're going to need to meet up with. So now we are going to take the fast travel here.
Free of Shah. I hope I can say the same with myself soon enough.
Looks like an army master here.
And before we go, okay, I want to take all of my potions and put them in a pouch. That lets me better distinguish between what is my arrows and that sort of stuff and my potions. And then I'm going to use this empty backpack to put a bunch of stuff in and quickly clean up my inventory of things that I'm going to be selling off. Okay, and the rest of these potions and throwables can all go in here. This is sail. Another throwable, more throwables. Okay, and we'll just quickly do that with everybody and get this cleaned up. Shouldn't take that long to do it here, so because my inventory is starting to get a little bit confusing for me, and I'm the one playing the game, so I can only imagine how confusing it's getting for everybody else. I don't need to keep the brains, I could be selling them, but for some stupid reason I always end up keeping them. And then I believe I picked up, oh, I only picked up one pouch. That's right, because I couldn't find the other one.
Still alive. So that's progress.
progress.
So here... Yes. So this is the reason that I keep these extra backpacks around. I call them trash bags, so that I can get rid of all the extraneous stuff by at a vendor by simply clicking on it and going through it. So I think that gets me where I need to be for now. So we're going to head to Baldur's Gate here. And again, we're going to get a warning here, and this warning is again very true. Okay, and going here takes you to your campsite. And we're going to have some people that we want to talk to in here, and there are going to be more people who are going to want to talk to us. So let's go ahead and have our conversations here.
Just what I need.
The curse is broken and the shadows are lifting. In time, these lands will heal.
Okay, nothing else from Lae'zel.
On my way.
The shadows are lifted. Finally, we can breathe free.
You saw Gortash, didn't you? What the fuck was he doing down there? Is all of this because of him?
The Tadpole, the Absolute. How? I was his bodyguard. I looked after him with my life. I trusted him more than anything. He gave me away to Zariel just for kicks. He ruined my life just when it was starting. And now he'd use up the entire Sword Coast. He has to die. And I'm gonna be the one who kills him!
Okay, so Karlach is going to play a part here in where we are going, to Rivington, Worms Crossing, and Worms Rock Fortress specifically. So there are going to be some times when we want to swap her out and bring her back into the party for specific times.
He can't get away with what he's done. To me. To us. He won't get away with it.
I can feel it. The engine. It's getting hotter, louder. It's going to blow if we don't find another way to fix it. You know, Zariel may have put the fucking thing in, but Gortash gave her the go-ahead. You expect this shit from devils, but not from the people you care about. Let's get to the city. Got business there I'm highly fucking keen to attend to.
Okay, so she's obviously upset and wants to deal with Gortash herself. So,
I'm ready.
Did I put something in the trash bag here? The Harper pin. Okay, thank you, Lord Henry. We're carrying that around for a specific reason, and we will see more about it here, actually coming up fairly quickly.
I need a moment for the two of
I
us.
think we've done rather a good thing here. A welcome change to give this land a sliver of hope amongst so much despair.
I never saw myself as a banisher of shadows before. I was always more of a lurker in, historically. The thing that will decide my fate forevermore. Yes, it's been on my mind. Why? Well, of course I've thought about it. If I completed the ritual instead of Cazador, I'd get all that power. And I could walk in the sun without fear I'd turn into a mind flare. Of course, I don't even know if I could complete the ritual. It may be impossible, but it certainly is tempting.
Okay, now we're gonna head down here and talk to Dame Aelin. And again, you'll be able to see the kintsugi
What do you know
on her
about me?
face.
You spoke of my past, being chased by wolves. I told no one about that. Almost no one. But I certainly didn't share that with you.
There is nothing I can tell you that you do not already know yourself. They trained you well, trained you hard. Chiseled away any part of you that did not fit their plan. They made you forget.
I chose to do that. For the mission to protect Shah's...
Secrets. Yes, yes, that is an old song, girl. Your goddess cares more for her precious secrets than she does her devotees.
Get to the point.
When you freed me, you severed a bond between me and that dog, Thorm. A bond of pain. His, inflicted on me. When I laid eyes on you, I sensed a similar bond. You, tethered to two others. Someplace distant. Let me help you remember.
You feel Shadowheart's mind tug at the edges of your own. You know this sensation. She wants you to see whatever is about to be revealed. Your mind joins with Shadowheart's. Something pulls at you both, bringing you elsewhere. Something sparks in your memory. Teachings about Selûnite rites of passage, about how they would abandon their children out in the wilds and force them to find their way home. It seems that one child never came back. She was taken.
What? Who was that man?
You already know. Did you not see yourself in him? Do you not recognize your own blood?
My father. That was him.
That is him. He lives still. And your mother, too.
No. It can't be. I'm an orphan.
And who told you that? Your adoptive family? You are not to blame. You were young, impressionable. They took you because they wanted to break and remake you. But you are a child no longer. You are a woman. One who knows what must be done.
My parents... I need to save them.
Your parents are with your abductors. You will need to return to their lair. But be warned. You may have once thought of them as comrades, mentors, friends, even lovers. They will all be enemies now. You have been forewarned for what is to come, but not yet forearmed. I was able to retrieve it before it sank too far into Shah's umbral domain. Shah is quick to discard whatever she has no use for. I think you know that well enough, but I felt it call to me as I took flight. Whatever Shah calls her own, Selûne has equal claim to. They are one and the same. Their power is matched and mirrored. Take it. You will find it useful. What you do with it, that will be up to you. Same as before.
I'll need every advantage, it seems. Thank you.
A debt repaid. You returned my life unto me. Now go and claim your own.
It hurts.
Shah torments you still. What a spiteful creature she is. This will not stop until you take action. See that your parents' sacrifices are not in vain. Allow the Moon Maiden to guide you at last.
Okay, and here you get Selûne's Spear of Night. Now, this is a legendary item that is the counterpart to Shar's Spear of the Evening. However, in my opinion, it's not nearly as good. It is still a +3 spear. It gives you dark vision. However, Shadowheart is a half-elf, so she already has dark vision, but it could be useful on somebody else who doesn't have it. The two things it allows you to do is, one, cast Moonbeam as a level 3 spell. Now, Moonbeam, it brings down a column of moonlight. It's a small AoE. I think it's only like a 1.5 meter radius AoE, but you can cast it, and then just like Call Lightning, you can move it. You can spend your action to move it at the start of your turn. So you can move it around wherever you want. Now, the Darkness spell on Shar's Spear of the Evening, you can cast as much as you want. It refreshes every turn. Moonbeam is once per long rest. I think that's probably a bit of a mistake. I think it's probably because, like I say, these two are not really all that comparable to each other. Moon Mote is, again, once per long rest. This is like Dancing Light. However, it's also has an extra bonus in that it's going to give every one of your allies an additional 1d4 radiant damage on every melee attack hit that they gain. So it's giving free damage to anybody around you. But again, it's once per long rest. So, now Moonbeam's a concentration spell, Moon Mote is a concentration spell, so they're mutually exclusive from each other. Again, I don't like this spear. It is the most powerful spear in the game that you're going to get if you side with Aelin and Selûne here, but I really think this spear could have deserved to see a buff. The other thing that comes with it is Selûne's Blessing. So you gain advantage on wisdom saving throws, which is great, and you gain advantage on perception checks, which is also really good. That ability is something that's very, very useful, especially when you're walking around. Now, Shadowheart right now is using the Blood of Lathander, which allows her to cast Sunbeam once per long rest. I actually don't intend to use this on Shadowheart.
Can't give up now.
I intend to use this on curs for the most part. A spear is counted in this game as a polearm, so he will still benefit from Polearm Master or from Sentinel when he uses it. And when I level him up and get him up to Polearm Master, then the spear will also work. But the other thing this allows him to do is it allows him to carry a shield while he still benefits from these things. And that's kind of the interesting part that goes along with it, with Polar Master once we get there, is that I am able to utilize a spear to do a lot of those same things. So for now, and this is not permanent, but for now I'm going to swap this out, and I do want to look at what shields we have available to us that are left. So right now it's, might as well, I mean, the Sentinel Shield I've already got those benefits, and this is going to give me advantage on perception checks anyway. So it looks like all of these shields are now just giving me that. I think I'm going to swap Shadowheart shield out here. I'm going to put it here instead, and I'm going to have Shadowheart take the Sentinel shield in its place. So that way I've got a couple of different people getting advantage on perception checks and that sort of stuff as we go.
Moving ahead.
Okay, so up here, I don't know if we've talked to Withers with Arabella here or not.
Fate, dost thou require a new ally?
Looks like we have.
Leave
Yes.
me.
We have.
I would not linger in this land over long, but whatever your business, I will aid you if I can.
Hey Chibi, welcome to the stream. Okay, so we are done here. So we're going to go ahead and click to go to bed. Okay, and now Shadowheart wants to talk to us. We have a couple of other conversations, and I do need to turn that off. I'd forgotten to do that previously. Let's talk to Scratch here.
Dog wags his tail, a small bag clenched between his teeth. He gives in and surrenders his find to you.
Scratch is the bestest boy.
Scratch's tongue lolls out happily, his tail wagging even faster.
And we can talk to Shadowheart.
I've been lied to. My whole life. And I was gullible enough to just believe it. My parents are alive, and I have to save them. I think a part of me always knew that. A part that Shah denied to me. Indeed. But the truth may yet prove painful. Who knows what Shah still keeps from me? We'd better press on for now, and hope we're ready when the moment comes. But before that, there's one thing I need to see to. You'll see for yourself soon enough. Just leave it with me.
Okay, so we're going to learn more about that here in a little bit. But for now, I can leave camp. I don't believe there's anybody else that needs to speak to me. Let's just quickly make sure. But I don't think there's any, I don't think anybody else needs to. They don't.
Here we go.
The curse has been lifted. The land's cleansed of the shadows. Kethric's reign of living death is over. Your courage has been tested, and in this at least, you have triumphed.
It's a cool cutscene there at the end of Act 2.
Sergeant, if you are here, I presume Wern's Rock is secure, and preparations for my inauguration are complete.
No, Lord Gortash. We were interrupted. Another quake in the lower city. More severe this time.
So you came cowering to my chambers? I'm flattered, Sergeant. But even I cannot command natural phenomena to cease.
Forgive me, my lord, but there is panic in the streets. The people are afraid.
Perhaps the people would be calm if you kept your nerve. I expect better from the Flaming Fist than to run scared from a slight tremor in the earth. Get back to your duties.
Duties, duties, duties. Patrolling and saluting and following and bowing and scraping. Yes, sir. No, sir. Rip and cut your throat, sir. Your plan is falling apart, lordling. Give me a reason not to cut you to ribbons.
Control yourself, Orin. We need to focus on reuniting the stones or the brain will break free. These quakes are just the start. Neither of us expected the Prism bearers to kill Ketheric. They'll be traveling to the city. Let's make sure we give them a Baldurian welcome.
I itch to peel you, to split your skin, to see your skull shine in the light. Little tyrant. Lucky for you, I harvested a whole family of living flesh in Rivington at high sun. They will sate my blade thirst tonight. Oh, but tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, my blades will thirst again.
Beyond the campsite, the city waits in uneasy silence, one sleep away.
Some really good cutscenes there. It's the transition between Act 2 and Act 3, so it was to be expected. So, to kind of quickly recap where we are, this is the city of Rivington here. Rivington is on the south bank of the River Keonthar. The River Keonthar runs east and west along or through the middle of the Sword Coast toward the sea, which is out here past Baldur's Gate. The city of Baldur's Gate itself is on the north shore of the Keonthar River, and here is the main bridge crossing the River Keonthar. You have Worm's Crossing, which is the south span and the north span of the river, and in the middle is an island, and on that island is Worm's Rock Fortress, and that's where we just saw Gortash. He is holed up inside of Worm's Rock Fortress. And once you proceed into Act 3, you start in the city of Rivington. That starting area also includes the south span of Worm's Crossing, Worm's Rock Fortress, and then the north span and the north span of it, and then you'll have another area which basically skips the main road, which heads around behind the mountain here over to the main entrance to the city, which is the Basilisk Gate, which enters you into the lower city of itself. So this area we're going to be venturing into is all of this area here and all of this area here. So it's a pretty expansive area, and this is actually kind of to scale, so to speak. And that was really cool that they laid it out this way in the game, because this is exactly how the actual map of the western Sword Coast of Faerun lays out. And it's really cool to see it from a Forgotten Realms tabletop perspective. But yes, it is. It's a very, very cool view and a little taste of what we're about to venture into here. So very interesting to see.
Everything.
So up here you can collect some more
Breathe deep and move.
camp supplies if you would like. There are also wooden crates and that sort of stuff that you can search here. You are in Worm's Lookout, which is an abandoned fortress that is no longer in use, that is to the southeast of Rivington. And again, you can search through all of these things in here, and there will be very little, if anything, to pick up here inside the lookout. But yes, you can see it is a really cool looking vista that you're able to oversee. So again, here you're going to have options, just like we previously took a long rest. You're going to have options to talk to everybody here. However, the game has treated it like you've already taken your long rest, and this is just an evening, kind of, or a morning, I guess. You've taken your long rest, and you kind of woken up in the morning, or you're kind of getting ready for things to happen.
Always at your side.
All's well, I hope, aside from the obvious.
So there's not going to be a whole lot in the way of conversations to have. But, and this is an interesting question. I haven't actually tried this before. I want to actually try this. Okay, so let's see if I can buff up my group here with the standard buffs, or if they go away. I honestly haven't checked on this to see if this works or not. Gale wants to talk to us as well.
The Absolute should be a thing of the past, and I with it. Yet, at the risk of angering Mistra further, I'm glad it didn't come to that, given what has come to light.
And this is because we didn't take him along with us during the fight with the Apostle of Merkel, where you would have been given the opportunity to allow Gale to blow up the Netherese bomb in his chest and end your game. It will give you game over, but it will satisfactorily kill the Nether Brain, or the Elder Brain.
Indeed. Under other circumstances, I might have been subdued or ashamed, but after what we saw, I must admit, I'm excited. The Elder Brain, but more importantly, the crown that it wore. Even without seeing it for myself, I could sense it. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete. I doubted what I was feeling at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power, the ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep, Sorcerer's Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. Ha! Sorcerer's Sundries is no mere trading post. It's been serving the arcane community for centuries. Their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
It's going to be a bit before we get there. Sorcerer's Sundries is located in the lower city, and we have to get through all of this stuff here first. Okay, so let me see if those buffs hold.
What's inside?
Through the go to bed click here. Because we are going to have the rest of the evening interrupted. And that's why it's given us the benefits of a long rest now, is because clicking go to bed here is going to start us down a different path, and you want to have all of your buffs active at this point. And it looks like it still has us with Merkel's gift, which is interesting. But let's go ahead and click go to bed. Let's see if these buffs pass through it or not.
The events of the last days weigh heavily upon you. Sleep's rest is slow to come to one whose mind is so full. The Absolute is not a god, but an elder brain controlled by the chosen of the Dead Three. They mean to use it to take control of the Sword Coast. All who carry the Tadpole are governed by the brain, and by extension the chosen. It will take but one order to transform them into an army of mind flayers. The This would have been your fate too, were it not for the Astral Prism and the mysterious visitor inside of it. With her help, you have uncovered the cult for what it really is. A plan of conquest orchestrated by the gods of death themselves. Together, you have the power to thwart the Dead Three. If you follow this path to its end, the Elder Brain will not answer to the Chosen. It will answer to you. Will you liberate them from their parasites and their religious delusions? Or will you use the power you gain for your own purposes? You will not have long to wait. All you need to do now is sleep. But sleep is not for you.
Hear me. Gather. The reckoning is upon us. The city thirsts for domination. March. Join power.
We're under attack. Help me.
Okay, so we are under attack here. The camp has been ambushed, and we have 3 Githyanki monks that have come through this portal back here at the back. We have 3 turns to make it to the portal, or the Absolute is going to take control of us, and that means that we will all transform into mind flayers, and you'll get game over. So you have 3 turns to make it to the portal. And because of that, your only focus here is not to waste any of your action economy on dealing with the monks. More of them are going to continue. Another one will spawn every turn. So even if you do take them out, it's not going to matter in the slightest. Your goal here is to make it to the portal. Now, unfortunately for me, a couple of things. One, you are all inflicted with her voice commanding, which means that you are going to take 1d6 psychic damage every turn, and we also have a -1 penalty to all of our spellcasting abilities. Our initiative roll did not go well at all, and you can see that the buffs that we had done beforehand are no longer here. So Shadowheart does not have the Misty Step ability. So she is not able to make her way to the portal from where she's at. And that means that the 2 monks at the back are going to be able to go before Will does, who is our first person that has Misty Step, and nobody has Long Strider on. So their movement speed has not been increased at all. Okay, so these 2 monks, because of their, and this is another thing I want to check after the latest hotfix, movement speed is still broken. They can actually get down. They're both going to dash out of here. But they are still going to be able to get attacks on us, and you will kind of see that here in a second. But my goal right now is not really to waste any action economy on them. When Will gets to go, I'm going to Misty Step him up here as far as he can and get him into the portal so that we can bypass all of this. Okay, that hurt. And this is what I mean by being able to attack her, and this is because monks are monks. In that monks get most of their big attacks on their bonus action, not even with their action. So being able to dash, which they did not use a Step of the Wind. They dashed. That took their action, but the attacks they were able to make were all on their bonus actions, and that's what makes monks especially dangerous. So I'm going to Misty Step back behind all of them and see if I have enough to make it to the portal. I do.
Curious.
So I'm just going to get out.
That thing's not going to hold together much longer.
And yes, Lord Henry, I had remembered that previously, so I definitely want to make sure I do it here. Rebinding my packed weapon. I need to get down here as quick as I can to get into this fight. But yes, the other thing that I needed to do was because I swapped out Kurz's weapon, I needed to rebind it as his packed weapon, which is what I did. So we're not going to have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of buffs and things like that because we're going to be in combat here for a bit. We're going to have a little bit of opportunity after this fight is over, but you're really taking this thing at face value, so to speak, at this point in the combat so far.
Needed.
So I'm going to put everybody else into hiding and kind of see what my options are here. How far can I jump? So I can jump past the detection cones.
Taking my time in the shadows.
I don't know if that means I'm going to be seen or not, though. And yes, it did bind Seluna's Spear of Night. And that shield gets him up to a 22 armor class. So let's see if we can jump Kurz. Let's move him up here first. Because I'm going to be jumping through a detection cone. Detection cones seem to, for some reason, go infinitely high. And my path is going to take me through that detection cone wherever I go. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a hide check here. So I'm going to try and jump right next to this monk here. Just in case. Yeah, see, hiding failed. Okay, so it... Yeah, it did. Okay. So I was kind of expecting that. That's why I wanted to move right next to the monk here, so I can at least get an attack off here. But the thing about the monks is all of this stuff that they have, they still can't see in the dark. I would prefer to do that with Will, if I can. And I'd prefer not to jump him to that side. Okay. So now I'm going to cast Darkness with Will. And I'm going to cast it so I can hopefully get both of them inside the darkness fully.
Give in.
And now with me,
These boots have seen everything.
I'm going to move in here. I'm going to spend one of my bardic inspirations to do slashing, or to do defensive flourish. Okay, so now my armor class is 27. Now, Curs can get into this. I'm not going to smite here. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Now I'm going to move up close to this monk to give disadvantage on what is I know is coming.
I'm ready.
And now I'm going to take Shadowheart and jump Shadowheart into this. Okay, she should still be hidden. I'm going to try, this is again, Radiating Orb Reverberation build. Didn't expect the crit, but I'll take it. 4 stacks of Radiating Orb. Knocked her prone for 2 turns. So hopefully now she's going to have a whole lot of missing going on her next set of attacks.
For a dull moment.
This is my time.
I'll make sure Will is fully inside the darkness here.
Making my move. I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Cutting to the chase.
Battle favors the fearless.
It's not over.
And now you have a bit of
No time to rest.
a respite here.
Can't give up now.
So now I'm going to do all of my buff ups here.
Hurry! I can't hold them back alone.
Okay, so you are on a timer here, but I am going to do one more thing. And have Curs do elemental weapon, hold. Me. Re-equip that. Re-equip that.
Now.
And now, let's go. We'll take Shadowheart quickly. Okay. Now let's go. We'll have a chance to come back for all of this other stuff later. Okay, we need to get down here into this fight.
It's not over.
To
Come
preserve
to the skull.
our allies as much as we
Come
can.
to the skull.
A mind flare. God's damned abomination.
The Githyanki is the source of our protection against the Absolute. I must subdue him, or everything we've worked towards is lost. Don't let my form deceive you. I am the one that's been protecting you. I am the one that came to you in your dreams. Help me. The Honor God. Eliminate them. My forces are weakened by their assault. But with your help, we can turn this around. Destroy the God. I will subdue their master.
Okay, now this is another chance to get a game over. If you rescue Orpheus here, you are again all going to turn into mind flayers, and the game will end. This is still a spot where we have a very uneasy alliance now with the Emperor.
Together, we can turn the tide.
And this is immediately going to drop us into combat. Okay. Now, most of this fight is going to be taking place at the start against the Intellect Devourers and the Emperor, but it is very quickly going to make its way to us. And there are 4 Githyanki monks here, and they're of different schools. Half of them are actually Shadow, Way of the Shadow monks, and the other half are Open Hand monks. So, Prelate Lyric and the High Gish here are your main melee fighters, and the Zephyr and the Ember Gish here are your main spell casting types. They can use fire-based spells and monk abilities, and wind and thunder-based spells and or monk abilities. And then, like I say, straight melee DPS and debuffing of individuals when they hit them with these 2 Githyanki down here. So we rolled with Shadowheart here because of her shield, gaining the +3 to initiative rolls. She's rolling first here, and I want to see how well I can position a couple of things here. So I can't position that way. They can do this, but they will just jump out of it. Because of their high dex, I'm going to have a very low to hit chance with this. And yeah, when you're looking at them, they're obviously monks, so they're going to have very high dex and very high wisdom stats, which are going to help them avoid a lot of AoE stuff. They've got evasion, so if you succeed on a dexterity saving throw, it's not going to take any damage at all. So most of your AoE spells here for damage are not going to be doing a whole lot. But now I think I'm fine. So the high dex is going to make these really hard to hit until I can drop them into darkness, which I will do with Will. But Prelate Lyric is going to be going first here. They have a really high wisdom stat. So yeah, only a 35% chance for hold person to land. So I think what I'm going to do is just drop in here with Spirit Guardians on radiant damage. See if I can move up just enough to get her. Okay, so that caused some radiating orb stacks, which we want. Then I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon up here on top. Try and keep one of these occupied, and if I'm going to keep one occupied, I'd prefer this Gigjanky up here to be occupied by it. Okay, now the Prelate's going to get a chance to attack here. Okay, so I did get Destructive Wrath as a response, and it was the Thunder version, which means that I stacked up Reverberation enough to knock the Prelate prone for 2 turns. And that all just kind of quickly disappeared in here, but yeah, you can see they were hit with it, and they stacked up enough Reverberation to receive prone, and then that got rid of the Reverberation. So it was good that that hit, because if it wouldn't have knocked her back, I would have taken more damage on a second hit. So now with Will here, I'm going to move Will back, or I'm going to move Will up here into this, and I'm going to have him throw down Darkness. And again, would like to get both of these if I can, because they are now blinded. Now I'm going to quicken here. And start getting some range damage in on the upper ranks of them. Okay, so for me here, definitely going to move up and see if we can get how much damage we can get in on the Prelate.
On my way.
Okay, good damage there.
Blood comes easy these days.
Now Kurz is going to have to jump into here. And this is the Astral Gravity taking hold here, which allows him to jump that far. And I actually would have preferred not to be there. I don't want to be that close to the chasm, but he hasn't been hit yet. Hopefully he stays right there. I'm definitely going to drop a smite here. Going to drop another one. Can't I get there? It's showing a path. Okay. you. Appreciate that. Oh, we dominated him. Wow, what a roll. Wow, what a roll. The domination roll there had to be really high because of the... It rolled a 3. Okay. I was gonna say, because yeah, that's with their stats, it's really hard to make any of those land. So let's see. Okay. So I can't even actually get down off of here because it's so high. That's all I can do. I would have preferred to be able to move up and hopefully finish the prelate off. But we'll leave that to Shadowheart here. Okay, a 58% chance. 84% chance, much better. Okay, there it landed. I was wondering why that hadn't landed yet. Again, Reverberation just stacks up so fast with her ability to throw thunder damage around everywhere.
Battle favors the fearless.
And now I would prefer... But I don't think I'm going to be able to. Where would I have to move to? Way out here. And that would use 8 meters of his movement speed. No, I forgot. I can jump this around. So let's try and get somewhere where we can see her. Come on. Thank you. And now I can get back into the darkness. And that's like a ranged pushing attack, is what it is. Okay, broke Spirit Guardians, but he's not going to like the retaliation. And every time he misses attacking me, he's going to take more radiant damage. Let's go around this way.
Light on my feet.
Perfect.
Another fight. Let's go.
And now with me, I have ranged. Let's see if I can hit him here. I can. That would knock him off of the cliff, so let's turn off Repelling Blast. I could kill him right off. I don't think either of them have anything important. I think it's just the Prelate that does, but again, I'm not too worried about this fight.
Done.
He's landing all of his dominates. And now I should be able to fly back up there. Okay. So it's going to be hard to get back up here. And I'm not going to be able to do it because of this strange views that I'm getting here. Maybe that'll work. Maybe that's taking me up. It is. It wasn't. Invisible platforms because of it's out of my view range, and that's going to make movement up there incredibly hard. So. Missed a 70%er. Now that to hit chance is based upon where I'm at right now. Once I move out of here, that hit chance is going to drop significantly. So let's do this instead.
Thank you. That was too close. Don't look at me like that. I am a mind flayer. Yes. Without me, you would be a slave to the Absolute.
Of all the things to be indebted to, a bloody mind flayer.
You may call me the Emperor. An adventurer. I came from Baldur's Gate, though I was never one to be constrained by circumstance. I longed for more. That longing brought me to Moonrise Towers on a search for treasure. To a colony of mind flayers who caught me, changed me into what I am now. For years, I served the Elder Brain, the one you know as the Absolute. I was a thrall like any other, but I was fortunate. I broke free and started a new life in my old city. I sustained myself on criminals. Unglamorous, but there are plenty of them. Rarely missed. And they fueled me while I did my work. I had the good fortune to meet Duke Stelmane. We formed a partnership, and through her, I became the governing force behind the Knights of the Shield. The largest mercantile operation in Baldur's Gate. People referred to me as the Emperor. Such was my influence. Though of course they had no idea what I really was. My needs were sated. I was happy for a while. Until my true nature was discovered by the tyrant himself, Lord Gortash. He tore me from my home and brought me back to the Brain, where I became a slave once again. A slave he continued to call me Emperor. The name was intended as a slight, to remind me of the heights from which I fell. But I have grown fond of it. It encapsulates well who I've become. Indeed, his hubris knows no bounds. To enslave me, that was his nature. But to enslave an Elder Brain, a questionable decision. I shall look forward to sharing his downfall with you. fought to tame Prince Orpheus, the son of Gith herself. His power has been the source of your continued protection against the voice of the Absolute. The power to disrupt hive-mind communication. It is the same power that enabled Orpheus's mother to bring about the fall of the Illithid Empire eons ago. A power she passed on to him, and that I leveraged for you. When Orpheus's mother left, a usurper took her place. Blackith declared herself queen of the Githyanki. Blackith wanted his power, but Orpheus rose against her, and so she sealed him and his honor guard within this prison. Bound by infernal chains, Orpheus could never leave. Bound by duty, his guard never would. They were close to breaking my hold on that prince. And if they had succeeded, we would be lost. I am relieved. You have embraced your potential enough that you could help me eliminate them. Alone, Orpheus will be much easier to control. No. Gortash sent me on a mission to retrieve the Astral Prism. I was one of many, but the first to find it. How Gortash or the other Chosen learned of its existence, I do not know. The moment I found it, I felt a change. My free will returning. I followed the feeling inside, and found Orpheus. I realized what the prism was for. Containment. While my body was within the prism's bounds, my mind was free. I could resist the Elder Brain, the Chosen. Better yet, I could plan to overthrow them. All I needed to do was subdue Orpheus and find allies in the outer world. You. Most certainly Orpheus. He is a threat to her reign. Some Githyanki still revere him, in defiance of their teachings. Blackith was safe as long as they believed him to be dead. But as you can see, he is very much alive. She kept him this way because she was reluctant to eradicate such power. Power that she might one day wish to take from him. If the Githyanki ever find out what she has done, there will be civil war. Blackith will be finished. That would be a terrible idea. The moment he is free, he will attack you. Your only defense would be to kill him. And in so doing, he would doom us both.
Even though he is subdued, you feel Orpheus's revulsion. A pulsing hatred that cannot be contained. The Emperor is telling the truth. To him, you are just another wretched illithid.
You carry a tadpole. As far as Orpheus is concerned, you are already illithid. A sworn enemy, just like me. I'm glad you think so. I agree. But there is one thing that you have that I do not. My original body was destroyed when I transformed. Yours continues to limit you. As an illithid, I have far surpassed who I ever was before. You, too, should embrace this change. I believe we'll have a better chance of defeating the Elder Brain if you embrace your latent illithid potential. I've been studying you for a while now. I believe I can trigger the next stage of your tadpole's life cycle, while continuing to preserve your independence. You have seen what I can do. Imagine yourself with the same strength, the same intelligence, the same devastating beauty. If you let me, I can evolve you. You will be able to do things you never thought were possible. There will be physical alterations, of course, but only partial. You will retain most of your current form, and you will soon see that that the benefits outweigh any perceived loss. The answer is twofold. One, I can, but it would kill you, as I told you before. Two, why would I? You have done well, the limited form you have. But you would do far better as an illithid. So, do you wish to evolve or not?
So you've got a choice here, but kind of not really a choice. What this comes down to, you're not going to evolve into a full illithid. You're going to become what the game calls partial illithid, and what this really does is opens up the outer ring of tadpole powers on the power tree, so to speak. Your no way choice here, what it's going to do, and we're going to go that way just so you can see it.
Even as you say the words, you feel a lurch of disappointment. Your mind bristles with illithid potential. How could you be so cruel as to deny yourself what you want most in the world?
I felt that. It's your nature. You cannot fight it. So embrace it. It wants to evolve, but it cannot do so alone. It must commune with another. A tadpole, nurtured by the psionic energy of the astral plane, cocooned here for millennia. It has become extraordinary.
Okay, so eating it and open your mind to the tadpole do the same thing. You can detect thoughts here, if you would like. I'm trying to think if that check is going to use that or not. It might. I'm thinking about, no, it's not going to. Favorable Beginnings is not in here. The DCs are going to be a little high here for this. And that's certainly not going to help. We're not going to re-roll that.
The tadpole prickles with excitement, its thoughts rampant and chaotic in its rush to communicate with you. It is impossible to discern any single intention.
The wisdom choice, what it does is allows you basically to move the transformation into anybody that you want, assuming you can convince them of it. Basically what it does is it gives you the Astral Touch Tadpole as an item that then you can right-click on with anybody and have them consume it. This wisdom check is really high. It's 21. So with a 3 to 6, I'm going to have to roll at least an 18 for this to work, but it could be as low as a 15. So somewhere in the realm of a 75 to 90% chance or 85% chance of failing this. Okay, I'm going to try one more roll. I've got 3 inspirations. Okay, so we're not going to spend any more time on it, and we're going to take it.
You may resist now, but it's too late. You already embraced the powers the parasite gave you. You leveraged them to manipulate, to dominate, to survive. Your nature is no longer your own. You are well on your way to fulfilling your illithid potential. You are ready to evolve. A coldness sadness seeps through your veins as the tadpole awakens, its yearning almost unbearable. Your mind is a veritable feast. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind present in every flex of a joint or muscle.
You are exquisite. When your allies see what you can do, I hope you encourage them to try it for themselves. But we mustn't lose focus. We need to resume our journey. You heard the Chosen. The brain has gone to the city, and the army marches to follow. We must not let them reach it. We must find the brain, and bring it under our control.
Okay. So, you saw the main outcome of that, basically, in that you do get a change to how you look. That is the main physical difference. You don't grow tentacles or anything like that. If you look at your Illithid powers, you can see it says that you are partial Illithid. And what you have now is unlocked this outer ring of powers. Okay, you still have to unlock the ones that are before them to be able to unlock the things on the outer ring. However, taking the Astral Touch Tadpole gives you two benefits right off the bat. The first is that all of the powers on the first ring are automatically unlocked, even if you did not have them unlocked previously. The second thing it does is it gives you the fly action here, even if you had not previously unlocked displace or repulsor. Actually, it's both, I think. Displace and repulsor to be able to get to it. So you do get a benefit from it here. Remember, previously I had only unlocked Favorable Beginnings and Luck of the Far Realms to do it. But it has now it's unlocked these powers here for me to be able to progress farther through this. Now, the other people in your party, or your other Origin companions, are still the same way. You see, the outer ring is locked, and wherever they are
What's next?
No
in their
time to rest.
willingness to use those things has all been preserved. You now have an opportunity to try and convince them, just like you did previously, for them to use the base Illithid powers. You now have the opportunity to have them give in to accepting Astral Touched Tadpole powers as well. So yes, you can get other people in your party to have access to this outer ring of powers. You're just going to have to find the tadpoles to do it. Okay? And you're going to see a little bit more of that when we get into camp. So the first thing I want to do here is check and see, oh yeah, we've got this awesome carry weight because gravity is so low. So everybody can carry a ton of things. So let's just have Ferg go around, and we're going to go around and loot everything. So here's the Prelate. And the Prelate has the Boots of Uninhibited Kashigo. The wearer deals additional damage equal to their Wisdom modifier with unarmed strikes. These are the best, if not tied to be the best, boots that the monk class can have. Monks are high dexterity, and they are high wisdom. Being able to add your Wisdom modifier to your unarmed strikes, especially being able to deal multiple unarmed strikes per round, gives you a huge bonus to your damage. So they are an amazing set of boots to have that you definitely do not want to miss picking up after this fight. And yeah, see the others, I don't think they have anything, but we'll go around and check. They don't have anything worth much. There are going to be a few other things you can pick up, but you're also going to find divine bone shards here. We saw one of those the last time that we ventured into the Astral Prism. You definitely want to pick those up. So we're just going to go around here and pick everything up. A Globe of Invulnerability spell was awesome. You definitely want to have those. And since I'm now done talking, Solo, Phenom, and M, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. You know, I have to apologize. I've been quite busy dealing with this combat and then explaining things, so wasn't able to say anything when y'all showed up. But yes, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Okay, we have another pouch back here, which is good. And we're going to pick up that pouch. The slates here are just teaching you more lore about Orpheus. We've already seen a bunch of those on the slates. So now you want to start looking around and making sure that you have fully explored the extents of the map. There's a lot of verticality on this map, and we have an intellect devourer out here in space. Wonder if I can loot that. Can. So as you're going around the rest of this, start looking up and start using your mini-map to find other areas that you might be able to jump to. Because remember, we have a huge jumping distance available to us. Because you're going to find all sorts of crafting ingredients and that sort of stuff out here. There is one little pixel up here that you can reach it. So you are able to move all the way back to the beginning. That's why I don't waste time looting any of this when you first come in here. Immediately make your way into the combat down below. The intellect devourers are not very powerful at all, but what they are good at is soaking up monk attacks, so that the monks attack them and not you, and that helps save you from damage. Quite a bit of damage, I might add. Now we have this upper area up here on this side. And again, all of this stuff, not the spells, but all the other stuff you're just going to end up selling. But when you get to Act 3 proper, we're technically already in it, but when you get to Act 3 proper, there's a lot of vendors that you're going to want to be buying stuff from, and that stuff is going to cost a lot. There's a Divine Bone Shard again. If you look at it, it gives you you can craft the Elixir of Universal Resistance, and that is basically resistance to all types of elemental damage. So very, very useful. You don't find very many of those shards. You really find them here in the astral plane, so pick them up every time that you can. I think you got 2 last time we were here, and you got 2 more this time. Okay, and then kind of sitting out here, there's a couple of more places we can get to here, and you see there's a chest out there. Okay, and there's one little pixel out here as well. You can also get to it from here. Okay, we'll do this with Shadowheart instead because of her strength. He's got a higher jump distance, base jump distance to begin with. Okay, so I believe that is your 5th Divine Bone Shard, so you need 1 more to be able to craft 2 of those potions. Fly is still based on your movement speed. So, for instance, if I go back here and I now have fly, you see that still uses your movement speed. So with me, I can fly just about as far. You see it takes me out to this Intellect Devourer corpse. I can jump almost to there, so I can get a little bit farther distance with fly. But again, if I jump and then fly, I can extend that quite a ways. So I can get up here in multiple different ways. It's not that big of a problem for me to maneuver around here. I just can't pick the characters that have low strength to do it in this one particular spot. So it's not a problem for Shadowheart to get there.
No time to waste.
And then 2 more places to jump to. First is back here. Another gilded chest. And then one more place to go.
Might as well.
And then we'll group everybody up and head out of here. But yeah, there's a lot of intellect devourers here with the cerebellums. And those elixirs of psychic resistance are very, very important in endgame. So pick up all of them that you can get. Potion of invisibility is great. Okay. And that is all of the areas that you can get to.
What to do?
And it is very easy, by the way, to click into the chasm. So be very careful when you're jumping, because if you click here, it's going to kill your character. So be very careful when you're clicking around on these, because you can very easily jump into the void and kill your character. And now that we're here, the last thing is... Oh, she doesn't have an alchemy pouch. So, trash bag. All of that. And we should have a pouch here now. We do, so we can take all of these. Potions and throwables and put them away. And then trash bag all of this. Okay.
All's well that ends.
Now we'll return to the material plane. Actually, there's one more thing I want to do. I don't think I've ever tried this. I don't know if I can speak with the dead on any of them.
The corpse remains silent.
But either way, that'll get it active, so I can see if I'm able to.
Let's move.
Okay, and now we are returned back to the material plane, and the 3 monks that were here are dead. Okay. So they're not going to have anything on them. So this is why killing them, spending your action economy to kill them, isn't worth it. There's no, absolutely zero point in doing it. So now we have the carrying capacity brought back to normal here. So we're going to send his trash bag to camp. Shadowheart is right there, so we're going to send her trash bag to camp as well. And I can move that back over there.
A hero at heart.
Will has some scrolls he can put into Curious Book.
No one stopped me yet.
And now we can head to bed again. I don't believe there's any more conversations to be had here.
Maybe it'll
I
bring
can
us
check
closer.
though.
So, there's been a mind flayer inside the artifact, or Astral Prism, the whole time we've had it. Sounds like utter madness, even though I've seen it with my own eyes. The more I learn, the less I understand just why I was sent to retrieve that thing. But it matters little now. I do not serve Shah anymore, nor the Mother Superior. The Prism is no longer my mission. Saving my parents is. But I digress. Did you want something?
Okay, these dialogue options, and none of these dialogues are special. You can have these dialogues in camp anytime you want. But these dialogue options now show up on every one of your party members, and this is what's going to give you the option.
I haven't even dared to use the more benign forms of illithid powers. Do you really think I'm eager to jump to the next step? Do you know what this entails? Well, of course you do. But I don't want that for myself.
And you're going to have persuasion options to be able to get them to be able to utilize those powers. Okay? At the very least, fly is extraordinarily useful for your characters, but some of the other things in that outer ring are very, very useful as well. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going through all of them.
One day I'll catch a break.
There are a lot of guides out there about all of that.
By Baldur and bones, this is a lot to take in. Let's see if I've got this right. 1, we've been carrying a mind flayer around with us this whole time. 2, it's been appearing as someone else in our dreams, cajoling us to embrace our new illithid talents. 3, the mind flayer's been siphoning a Githyanki prisoner's powers to shield us from the Absolute's voice. Did I miss anything? How could I forget? One of Baldur's Gate's most distinguished figures, a mind flayer's ally. Sensational tales, aren't they? Almost unbelievable. With a narrator so unreliable, how do we tell fact from fiction? I can't pretend I have the answer, but I know the Illithid's right about one thing. It holds our fates in its talons. Until the Absolute falls, there's no getting rid of it.
So again, you have those options on everybody at this point. And I think, before I say anything, yeah, this camp is special in that it doesn't have everybody in it. Okay? It only has the people that are in your party. You still have access to your camp inventory and all of that sort of stuff, but this is not a normal camp. So we're just going to go to bed here and end things off.
Cursed to put my hands on everything.
Okay. And again, none of those long rests we took used camp supplies. Those were free for us, kind of in between the transition between Act 2 and Act 3. So obviously, Lae'zel is going to have some stuff she wants to say to us.
Your parasite communes with Lae'zel's. Her heart races as she learns of the events inside the Astral Prism.
Orpheus, Gith's only son. He lives. It is not the Geich visitor that Vlaakith would destroy and Voss would set free. It is Orpheus, the blood of the mother, the prince of the comet. Listen close. The Emperor spoke only in half-truths. For you to know the tale of Orpheus, you must know the tale of Gith and of Vlaakith. Long ago, when we rose up against our Geich slavers, Mother Gith made for the Hells to secure an alliance with the Archdevil Tiamat. Tiamat gifted the Githyanki our red dragons. Gith remained in the Hells, and Tiamat's envoy proclaimed Vlaakith our ruler. The first Vlaakith of many. It is Vlaakith 157 whom my people now call Queen. Orpheus is Gith's only son. He led his mother's own honor guard in a coup against Vlaakith I. It was Kithrak Voss himself who slayed the prince in vicious battle, or so the Varshes teach us. Yet the Prince of the Comet's been with us, subdued by that repugnant illithid. Should Orpheus go free, he would tear Vlaakith's empire to pieces and build new glory from the scraps.
Also important to realize that if Lae'zel was in your party during that encounter, things are very strongly going to want to go the other way, and you actually have to persuade Lae'zel to not give you a game over in there. So not having her in the party makes things a little bit easier from a persuasion check option, just because there is always that chance that you roll a 1.
The seed and the sower. Every word Voss spoke, he spoke true. Orpheus is the living proof of the Queen's lies, and the living weapon that conquered our Geich slavers. One word from his lips, and the people would doubt. 2 words, and they would rage. 3 words, and they would bow to the true heir. If the Githyanki are to be free, the Prince of the Comet must lead the way.
Okay, and again, that same option for her.
What about him? The historical slates describe Orpheus as a fearsome, terrible creature, powerful beyond measure, and enthralled by the Geich. So mad with power, he'd smash through the Githyanki Empire and deliver the shards to his illithid masters. And glowing with such psionic force that he and his red dragon blazed a trail through the skies. A lethal comet careening towards my people. Lies, of course. Vlaakith spread a false image of Orpheus as monstrous betrayer, and her knights as the butchers who sliced him through. She was right to fear him, I'll grant her that. So great is the comet, it could shatter her reign. The Emperor may be loathsome, but it's right. Orpheus can disrupt a Geich hive mind. A talent like that makes the Prince a powerful shield and a powerful weapon. Why destroy a weapon like that, when you can contain it in a relic and keep it for yourself? A weapon is only an asset for as long as it isn't pointed at you. The means of Vlaakith's own end has been ripped away from her. Better to have Orpheus killed than to risk his escape. Better to risk the rise of illithids than let the Prince of the Comet deny her the godhood she craves. Orpheus is honor guard, loyal to the end. Trapped by Vlaakith in the same prism holding their noble prince, fruitlessly hacking at the sphere that contains him. They see us as Geich, tadpole husks in the Emperor's thrall. I regret their deaths, but I pledge to live as they perished, in the service of Gith's son.
So she is definitely a convert now.
Very well.
And again, that's what makes it a little bit more difficult with her, is because she definitely wants to meet with Kithrak Voss and to free Orpheus. Okay. We did pick up the Confront the Elder Brain quests to either control it or destroy it, either way you want to go. The Chosen of Shar quest for this split second is complete. It's going to continue on. We want to find Gortash with Karlach. And again, eager to speak with Kithrak Voss at Caresses Sharess, and Gale certainly wants to know more about the Crown of Karsus. Okay, and we've completed all of these down here. and Will, we had the conversation with. We're going to come back to Shadowheart here in a minute.
Gods. A mind flayer's been getting their tentacles all over our dreams this whole time. I'm really not sure about putting any trust at all in this thing. It's already shown itself a liar. I've got my eyes on the Emperor, and Karlach doesn't blink. Gods, Shadowheart looks like a stack of gold. Never thought I could get so excited about someone's forehead, but here we are. He got his claws into me early. I was a wild kid, brawling my way through the city. One of my mates got wind of a bit of work guarding some indoorsy type with lots of enemies. Seemed like easy money, so I went in for it. He took one look at me and said I was perfect. I like that. Not like that, you know. Just... it felt like a good fit. I kept him safe and he paid me well. Well enough to move into a better neighborhood and put something away for the future. My future. I respected him, trusted him. And he returned that trust, that respect. His life was in my hands, and I took that seriously. The whole thing with Zariel happened so fast. I had no idea what had gone down until it was over. 1 minute I was in Baldur's Gate, a happy, healthy, not quite kid. The next, I was burning up in Avernus with an engine for a heart. Zariel laughed. Said she paid him well for my services. She'd wanted to test her new machine, and he said I'd be able to handle it. He was right. Sometimes I wish he weren't. Evil, evil bastard.
So Karlach being sold into slavery. Not an easy story to hear. And while I'm here, I want everybody's helmets to be hidden during dialogues.
When I first met you, saving yourself from ceremorphosis was your greatest wish. And yet now, you've stepped closer to embracing it. I trust your leadership and respect your decisions, but I truly hope this is not something we come to regret.
Okay, so there are more conversations to be had with Halsin, but we're not going to have them here.
There's no more radiant sight than that of someone who's learned to love themselves anew. Shadowed in name, but no longer in spirit. It suits her.
Okay, again, more options.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, we have a new look for a new Shadowheart. Nice as it is, she still doesn't have the best hair in the camp.
I love Astarian. Yeah, there's a reason Neil Newbon won best actor for this.
Fate, dost thou require a new...
Okay, nothing new here.
There you are. I have awaited your arrival with great anticipation. Come closer. Feel my voice rattle your bones as I proclaim our victory. Moon Maiden Selûne, hear me. Ketheric Thorm, traitor, apostle of Merkel, is dead at last.
My mate, most high. Darling Isabel is safe and well. Safe and well, and return to my embrace. Blessings upon the slayer of the Wicked One.
We are a powerful party indeed. Faerun itself trembles at our touch.
My darling Isabel says we will stay allied at your side. I am pleased to hear it.
Pray, ask, and I will tell.
Do I not radiate with my mother's brightness, her glory? There can be no doubt. I am of her silvered flesh, her celestial womb. Why, she already has. She has brought her sword to your side, Dame Aelin. So mighty are her wonders, her great wisdom. Together, we will set this fair land free of tyranny and murder. Ketheric Thorn, father of my one and only love, enslaver of Dame Aelin. Ketheric Thorn never did trust me, even when he worshipped the Moon Maiden. He was threatened by my love for Isabel, by her love for me. When she died, curse the day, the hour, we each of us mourned bitterly. But Ketheric's pain could be touched by no aid, no boundary. He turned to wretched Shah, the Lady of Loss, for relief. And she whispered into his ear, poisoning his mind. He and his loathsome advisor, Balthazar, lured me into the Shadowfell, claimed they'd found someone in need of my aid. There, they trapped me in their infernal cage. I was killed, murdered, made dead over and over and over by justiciars of every make and kind. I was reborn, for it is my nature. And Ketheric fed upon my immortality all the while. But lo, the brute is dead, and we live!
And that's why the patterning on her face, for, like I say, the Japanese method of putting pottery together, with lacquer infused with gold dust, makes so much sense. She has been broken and pieced back together every time that she was killed by a Dark Justiciar inside the Shadowfell. It's a very, very apt sentiment to make her character look like that. And again, one more piece of detail that the devs threw into this game that it just kind of amazes me sometimes when I see it.
I can't believe it. I can't believe Aelin is here. And my father. I heard what happened. What he'd become. By killing him. You set him free. You set Aelin free. And me. A great deal. But still, some of the details elude me. Ketheric Thorn was my father. He raised me to serve Selûne as my mother, rest her soul, had wished. He was everything to me, all my life. When an emissary of Selûne came to our little town, we were elated. Dame Aelin, daughter of the Moon Maiden herself. Tell me, do you believe in love at first sight? This was different. It was like I could see my fate in her eyes. Lucky for me, she felt the same way. But my father was skeptical. Aelin is immortal, after all. I understand it's strange. There's an imbalance between us, certainly. But I suppose loving Aelin felt the same as loving myself. It was natural. Then... and this is where I still need answers. I died. I'm not sure how, why, but all was black, black, black. Next I knew, I was being jolted awake. I smelled musty air, I saw shadows. And then my father's face. So changed. So hideously warped. I didn't know that then, but I could see the change in him. He told me we'd be together now. Said that Aelin was dead. I couldn't speak. Could only run. I found last light within the shadows. Made a shelter there. Prayed my father wouldn't find me. By the time Jaheira came, I'd pieced together just enough to know I'd been dead 100 years. That my father was the source of the horrors plaguing this land. My home. I couldn't tell her who I was. I had to protect them. And myself. No matter what. It's all out in the open now. And with my father dead, I have nothing to fear. Except for Aelin. She needs healing. Rest. I'm grateful for your help. Your friendship. I hope we won't intrude on your hospitality too long. But I'm grateful for a safe place to... well... just to be.
Okay, and now Shadowheart, and I want to try a couple of things real quick before we do this. So first, there it is. I want to look at something here first. Okay, so that does not change the look of you. You still have the half elithid look to you.
Be honest. What do you think of the new look?
So what's been hinted about by all the other people in the camp?
Well, I'm glad someone does. Perhaps I'll get used to it. I have a lot to get used to right now.
Okay, and again, you have the option for her as well.
Fine. What's on your mind? How are you holding up? Don't be so modest. I can't remember the last time I met someone like you. Perhaps I never did. And never will again.
Okay, so nothing else new from Shadowheart. So now we can leave camp. And this officially drops us into Act 3. I know it's been a lot of talking and not a lot of action this time. That's also what makes this stream different from the Paladin livestream. That's why we're on episode 38 here, and the Paladin livestream is like episode 33 and it's farther along. And that's because this live stream here is going to explore all the ins and outs of the character choices and that sort of stuff. So you're going to get a lot more dialogue here. Also, we have a lot more characters that are here. In the Paladin playthrough, we don't have Karlach, we don't have Dame Aelin, we don't have, a bunch of people who are in this playthrough are not there. So you're going to get times like this, where You just get a lot of dialogue, but it really helps flesh out the backstory and the lore. So, if you look at your map now, all of your waypoints are gone. If you try and go backward...
Very well.
The city is close now. My former peers will be watching, no doubt.
Okay, you see there's
Waiting
nothing
for my
else.
return.
There's nowhere for you to go backward.
should do
You
what
are
we can
now
to find
in Act 3,
What they know
and
could help
you are
us.
here to stay. There is not going to be going backward. Now, while I was talking, Shadowheart was also talking, and she was giving you a hint here. The city is close now. My former peers will be watching, no doubt, waiting for my return. We should do what we can to find them. What they know could help us. And that is very, very true. There is a lookout that is waiting for Shadowheart here. And you want to make sure that you are prepared for that as we go through this. And I want to buff things up here real quick. Speak with animals is very important here in Act 3.
All right, what now?
And I'm actually going to change this out.
I wonder what the next move is.
And I'm going to have Shadowheart cast this on first. I want to give the additional weapon damage bonus to him because he's now missing out on the 1d6 from Light of Creation. So I want to give him at least a 1d4 of something else to go along with it. I'm going to be changing out that damage type as we go, because lightning damage is going to be a lot more useful for him coming up at various portions in Act 3 to maximize his damage potential.
Wish I had a bag of holding. Wonder if the gods are watching me.
Okay, there's another backpack down here that we will pick up. Okay, and some quick searching up here. Again, all of these things that are sitting up here are things that you can sell, and you're going to need all the gold you can get down here. So we need a new trash bag on Shadowheart. We have, or on Will. We have a trash bag here. We need a new trash bag on Purse. Okay, we're going to open up the waypoint here for Rivington, which is where we are. We talked about this earlier, and we're going to get a conversation here.
Excuse me. I can't find my mum. She was sick. She had spots on her face and hands. She went to go get some herbs, and she was supposed to come back the same day. That was last 10-day, though. Thank you so much. I don't have anything, and you can't do anything without any coin. I'll pay you back when I find my mum.
Yenna is actually going to play a major part in the story here, kind of surprisingly, actually, as we get a little bit deeper into Act 3.
I'm just a cat. But please, talk to Yenna. I don't like talking. Nothing good, I don't think. She was so very sick. Maybe she made like a cat and went off to spend her last life. Yenna is my best friend. She's kind. Help her, not me. Please don't.
If you, again, aren't aware of the lore here, in the city, cats are allowed. Cats are encouraged. Dogs are outlawed in the city of Baldur's Gate. So you won't see them inside the city. You will see them out here in Rivington, though, because we are not inside the city itself. But now cats get to show off a little bit, where we've only had dogs in the form of Scratch and that sort of stuff for the most part.
I want to have a word.
We told our son that this is a holiday to spare him the truth. We don't have homes to go back to.
Okay, so you're going to find citizens with names here in Rivington. Others are going to be refugees and or citizens that you can't talk to. You can have a whole lot of conversations with various people here inside this area. And you want to be a little careful up to this point. Down here is one of those lookouts that Shadowheart was talking about. And that lookout will refuse to interact with you if he sees Shadowheart in your party and Shadowheart has betrayed Shar. If she has embraced Shar, then you can deal with this person all you want. But this person sells the best weapon in the game for a very specific build of a very specific racial character. And if you want to have access to their inventory, you have to be able to talk to them, you have to be able to pass a persuasion check with them to open up the special inventory, but all of that will not be allowed if Shadowheart, who has betrayed Shar, is in your party. So what you want to do is make sure that you leave Shar, or leave Shadowheart out of your party when you go forward to do this. And we're going to be... We'll actually go down and do this now. And we need to make sure somebody has access to the silver pendant.
Gods. Not another protester. Go talk to Nestor if you must. I've got plenty on my plate with these mewling geese.
Waldarians! Stand with me against this tide that threatens to overwhelm us.
Please just go home. You're ruining a perfectly uneventful posting with this nonsense.
The Flaming Fists are supposed to protect this good city, but they allow trash and vermin to take our homes and goods. Ah, another visitor, I see. Listen, we keep letting the likes of you in, soon there'll be no room left for any of us true Baldarians. Oh, my apologies. Now I hear you speak, I, of course, realise you're a local. Excuse me? I was born inside the city walls, a Baldarian through and through. Wherever you're from, Clearly they don't teach manners.
And here is the person you're interested in, Ferg Drogher.
File a report, and I'm sure...
I took you for one of them for a moment. The refugees, that is. You're a recent arrival for sure, still bearing dust from the road. But you have something they lack. Dignity. These wretches have nowhere to call home, nothing to live off but what they carry, and nobody to help them but themselves. And me, of course. Charity is a luxury. Fickle, occasional gestures from guilty hearts. I run a business. You'd be shocked by the sort of things they bring with them. Gold and jewels, they can't easily exchange. Heirlooms, rarities, sentimental items, even cremation urns. Alas, you cannot eat grandmother's ashes, nor can you easily trade a golden candelabra for a bowl of soup. That is where I come in. Liquidity. Their heirlooms for my gold. A pity more don't share your open mind. I always say it's just business, but some don't see it that way. There is an enterprise within the city that I help to support. I know I said I wasn't given to charity, but this place is dear to my heart. I'd tell you more, but they value discretion above all, as do I.
Okay, so you have a persuasion check here. It's a high DC, so you want to be prepared for that. I could put advantage on this if I'd like, but with my bonuses here, I'd prefer just to try with guidance instead.
You're like a dog with a bone, aren't you? Perhaps you are cannier than I first gave credit to be. I have some very special wares reserved for exclusive clientele, but I think you've earned a peek.
Okay, and we're going to go a little long just to explain this real quick. So if you have Shadowheart in your party here, you won't even be able to get to this trade screen. He will have a conversation with Shadowheart, and he will leave to report her presence. If Shadowheart's not with you, then you have access to 3 things. And those 3 things are the first 3 items here on the list. If you pass that persuasion check that we just did, it opens up the last 3 things here on this list. I'm not going to go through them today. We're going to start out next week going through them. But if Shadowheart is with you and she is allied to Shar, you won't have to make that persuasion check at all. All 6 of these items will be available to you just because of her alliance with Shar. Okay. So we are going to break at this point and end our episode here. But we're going to come back at the start of next week and talk about these items and also a special way that we want to buy them. That special way is going to be explored more Saturday morning, United States time, when we deal with vendors and how to deal with their attitude towards us and the price of their items. So we're going to leave for now. We're going to drop ourselves a save file here. And we're going to pick back up at that exact same spot next week. So, thank you all for staying here. I know this one, like I say, because of the transition between Act 2 and Act 3, was not the most combat exciting, and that sort of stuff. The next few episodes here are going to be very similar to that, because Rivington doesn't have a lot of combat in it. We will get into some combat here. There are half dozen different encounters. But this is all setting up the endgame. That's what Rivington and Worms Crossing are about doing is setting up our journey into the city itself. So there's a lot more of advancing quest lines and setting things up here as opposed to just pure combat like there was in Act 2. So on that note, thank you all for being here. I, again, appreciate all of the interactions with my community. You guys are great in the chat. Thank you very, very much for being here. As always, without your support, none of this would be possible. And this is Commander Drogher saying, until next time, fare thee well.
Got diseases. Any one of them could be a spy for the Absolute.
Back off and return to your homes.